Sometimes when the devil brings certain temptations upon you and certain issues that come up, you try to say, well, should I say yes? Should I say yes? And the promises we make God, sometimes we so easily, fall back on them, We promise Him, and then, as I said one time, I've heard people sometimes, they have so much things to do, and they say, let's say a quick prayer. And they say the prayer, a quick prayer, that's what they said they had to do. When they finished praying, they didn't know what they said. Tell me you don't know what that is. I've been there. I've been there where I did prayer, and I sometimes said to myself, like, I'm going to my car. I said, did I? Remember, I'm in the car going, let me say, did I have a prayer? I can't even remember. I said, yeah, I did. What did you say? I don't remember what it is. Okay, so I would do it again, right? And just slow down, because sometimes we tend to feel like, I have X amount of time to do something, and we say, well, I got 2 hours, okay, and I need to do this and I need to do that, so let me just structure my thing in such a way, like, let me just say a little prayer, because at least you feel you're obligated, you want to, as it were, like, at least I'm obligated, so let me at least give God 2 minutes out of it, right? And you don't consider to yourself that 2 hours which you say you have, you don't have it unless God gives it to you. You know what I'm saying? The people went to bed this morning and didn't wake up this morning. They had an agenda. And as I wrote recently about, like I said, sometimes you're rushing, you say, well, I have this to do by the weekend, and you have all these plans to do, but sometimes all of that you're talking about, you might not get the weekend, or you might get it, but not even know it's your last weekend. There won't be another one. Everybody from my job there before, I hope they learned a lesson from our co-worker who went to bed and didn't wake up. And he was just 50 years old. He had lots of plans. I spoke to his mother after the funeral, and she was telling me some of the things he wanted to do, what he wanted to do. And I said, but where you get that kind of money anyway? But it really was irrelevant right now, because where you got the money or whatever, I don't know, but it's big plans, but it's all dead. So before I even say anything more, I just want us to remember a verse here that it was always a motto for my family when, I used to have family and stuff and going on, and we used to teach Psalm 127 verse 1, it says, except the Lord build a house, they labor in vain that build it. Except the Lord keep the city, the watchman waketh but in vain. If you are not a child of God, you might say that this doesn't make any sense. I mean, you might say to yourself, oh, nobody can stop me from what I want to do. Yeah, but a lot of people have been stopped. Just like that. They didn't even leave their house. It's just like they were telling you that don't leave your house and COVID is going to kill you. People stayed right in their house and they died same way. So I'm saying to you, so except the Lord build a house. Remember, now that Creator in the days of thy youth. Remember that Creator in everything that you're doing. Because as the scripture written there says, it is He that giveth you power to get wealth. In so doing, the Lord told Joshua, you'll have good success. You don't do anything. We can't accomplish anything on our own. And we say it, but we really don't. Sometimes the devil takes us off course. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes you say this, I'm like, I have to do this and I have to do that. For me now, as I tell you, I wouldn't want to go back to 19 years old. Because But I used to think at that time, it's not like now. For me now, I would say, no, I'm going to have to spend this time to worship. And sometimes I realize, oops, I'm about to go to the door and I didn't sing a song and I didn't pray and I didn't open my Bible and all these things that I would do. So I go and do it. And you might say, oh, I'm not going to make it. But you don't have that time. The time is in God's hands. You have a thing on your wrist, you have a watch and a clock you're looking at, but that's not time. Time belongs to God. Okay? And you can say you heard it here and open up your Bible. Because some of the things that I tell me, I don't hear from other people. Time belongs to God. So you think that this is time. This is not time. This is an attempt to count time. But I'm telling you, drop dead right now, this thing will still be ticking the same way. Okay? And no matter if it were, somebody asked me one day if it's a Rolex, but it's not. I wouldn't buy a Rolex anyway. But I'm just saying, if it were even the most expensive watch there is, it does not, it's not time. It's not time. It counts time. Time belongs to God. Right? Time belongs to God. And God does say that everything's set up in time. So when the time came for Jesus to die, he was working, ministering all the while, the whole day, till sundown. He came and sat with the disciples and he said, you know, I really wanted to do this before I go. And they don't understand clearly what he's saying. But he knew that it was time for him to go. And so today as we talk about time, thank you Jesus, so then I'm saying that, so except the Lord build a house, you know, whatever you do, you know, it could be just in vain. You could do the best, the things that you can, listen to the best scientists and all the technology you want to use, right? You know what I'm saying? You think about it. What bridge do they have in this world that natural disaster can't destroy? What building do they have in this world that natural disaster cannot destroy? What on earth do they have? Right now we are looking for something that's coming from outer space, which they said China put up there. They said they said when it comes into Earth's atmosphere, it's going to burst in pieces. And they are hoping that that happens, because if it comes in, it's going to be like worse than a bomb. But suppose it doesn't break in pieces and just come straight in as one whole. It would be a phenomenon. But even breaking pieces is a problem. But coming in as a whole would be a terrible disaster. But what I'm saying is that, so men even do these things and they can't control where the thing is going to land, what's going to happen to it, and all these things. Alright? And they still do it. But except the Lord build a house. So we don't worry about these things, because we know that our God is supreme. And when I talk about time, the Bible tells us that there will come a time of trouble, such as never was since there was the beginning. Right? And that's Daniel chapter 12. And we are looking at Malachi today. Malachi. That Malachi, when we are learning the books of the Bible as children, we used to remember, that Malachi was the last book for the Old Testament. You remember that, right? So you know your books of the Bible from Genesis to Malachi. Let's try it. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 1st and 2nd Samuel, 1st and 2nd Kings, 1st and 2nd Chronicles, Ezra, Nehemiah, Esther, Job, Psalms, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Lamentation, Ezekiel, Daniel, Hosea, Joel, Amos, Obadiah, Jonah, Micah, Nahum, Habakkuk, Zephaniah, Haggai, Decorah, Malachi. I used to be able to say all of that in 30 seconds. Alright, so I tell you? Now that now, of course, 19 years old. Okay, right? Rattle it off. But that doesn't even mean I understand so much of what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? I do now, right? Age teaches wisdom, right? And of course, the Old Ghost teach you things, right? The old people used to say that, you see them say, oh, there are higher heights and deeper depths, right? And you look at it like, what do you mean by that? But you figure, well, I guess they're saying there's more to it than what you can see, right? So Malachi, he's the one who spoke about that the Lord would send Elijah, which was a confusion at the time when the Lord walked this earth, that the prophet, the Pharisees and scribes were looking for this Elijah, and Elijah came and just, as it were, like passed by them. Didn't even really pass by them, but I'm just saying a figure, passed by them and was gone, and they were still looking. And I've said this before, you've heard it and open up your Bible here if you've been following me for even 2 years now. You will hear me talk. Well, I started this whole series about talking from the birth of Christ, and I was talking about, I did a whole study on Elijah, excuse me, you remember that, right? Till the Lord sends rain, with that song and the whole series there. And I was saying that some of us today are looking for things to happen in prophecy that have gone already. It happened before and it's still happening right now. The people sit down there waiting. It's like Jewish people that sit down waiting for Messiah. The Messiah came and it's gone. Right? So Malachi wrote about this Elijah, said that the Lord said Elijah. So they were waiting for Elijah. So part of the problem is that the way how we think God is going to work is not necessarily the way he works. You see what I'm trying to say? And so it was in the beginning. Because until this very day, I cannot understand how a piece of clay, a piece of dirt, is taken out of the earth and molded in a certain fashion. How does it become this flesh and blood thing? How does it happen? Can you explain it? No. And until this day, mankind has been trying to make statues and all these things and to make it look so real life. And you know, even when they do taxidermy, I know this store where I work, when you go in there, it's like you see a deer, you see a moose, whatever. It looks so real, but it's dead. All they do is made a thing with wood and then they cover it with the skin. It's not good. So how does God do this? Right? How does he do it? Right? How does he do it? So, but the Bible says all he did was to breathe into his nostril the breath of life, and then the whole thing changed up. And you notice also the reverse, that when the breath of life comes out of the body and they put it back in the earth, it goes back and be like earth again. It doesn't stay. So the life, the breath of life, is a part of God, is what makes the difference. You see that? Okay? And people reject God and they say there's no God, they don't want to believe in God and all these sort of things. They say that without him, we are absolutely nothing. Okay? So going back to Malachi, as I said to you that when he spoke about this, the people there sit down there watching and they know the prophets and they're saying, so when the Lord came, they're saying like, how are they talking about they cannot be the Messiah, because before the Messiah there must come Elijah. Well, they think Elijah was going to come down back in his chariot of fire from heaven, right? Can you imagine Elijah landing in JFK airport or, you know, whatever, in his chariot of fire, right? What something would happen if Elijah came down to heaven from heaven in his chariot of fire upon this earth? You know, you ever see when a helicopter sometimes a propeller where it makes the place just vibrate with that sort of thing. There's nothing like that, we talk about fire. The horse is fire and the chariot is fire. And it come down, I think it was something similar, simple. Okay? So you're not coming back. So because they thought he was going to come back that way, they're looking for him. Maybe they had, I don't know if you might have had photographs of him, I don't know what they had, but I'm just saying that the way they expected it was going to happen, wasn't going to happen that way. And it happened right before their eyes. And Elijah was gone. In fact, Jesus said to them, they killed him and they're going to do the same thing to me. And so today, the Messiah was right before them and they were still waiting for the Messiah. 2,000 years now, there are Jews who are still waiting for the Messiah, and he has come and gone and he's coming back again. How do we know about his coming back again? It's because he came already. You see, and this is fundamental. You know, as I heard this Jewish man, I don't think he was, and I commented on what he was saying on his video. Because they're talking about the coming of the Messiah, but the coming of the Messiah, not the first, I said you have to believe in the first coming before you can go to the second coming. It's not just this coming about he's coming in to judge the earth or whatever. You have to believe in the first coming when he came as a baby. And so when he ascended in heaven, the angel said to them, this same Jesus will come again. Right? So, when I wrote the blog about Daybreak, you know, sometimes the Lord wake me up and I can't even sleep. I'm telling you. I was thinking about this week how the Bible says the Lord spoke out the prophet. He said, my prophets, I sent them to me, rising them up early and sending them. And I'm telling you, it's an experience. The Lord wake you up. And you went to bed and you don't maybe get 3-4 hours sleep and it woke you up and the Spirit of God is stirring inside of you. And he said, must write these things down, write them down. This is what you have to do. Right? And I'm saying, he said, so he gave me this inspiration and it was dark. I didn't get up to write nothing. I woke up, you get up and you go to the bathroom and you go back to bed, sleep again. The Spirit of God is stirring inside of me and I start writing. And I keep writing till by the time when I'm finished, I think the sun was up must at least an hour already. Right? That was dark. So, Daybreak. And as I spoke about Daybreak, one of my most fascinating times about Daybreak was when 2004 when we drove to Montreal. And as I told you that maybe you have heard me say and hear and open up your Bible that day we were supposed to go the Monday morning to leave to go to and for some reason when she went to NYU and I don't know what happened, didn't come back. Those days wasn't everybody had cell phone and all that and couldn't find her, so by the time when she came it was just late. The afternoon time, rush hour time and whatever. Until this very day I don't even think I know what happened. I don't even know. But by the time when we were ready to, I said we were supposed to go, then the Lord said, no, don't leave now. Don't leave now. I said I'll take a nap and relax, whatever. By the time when I got up, the Lord said we can go now, it's after 10. And I'm here, and if I'm crazy, why am I going at this hour? I said, now is the time we're going to go. So we drove to Montreal, and we left like about, 1 o'clock, I think. And we drove through the night, right through the night till daybreak. And because we're traveling north, right? And we saw the sun rise. You see the daybreak, everything is, I think we even took pictures of it or something. In those days we had a camcorder, right? And and video it and all this thing and the whole thing, and it was something I'll never forget, right? Because one thing for you to see the sunset, but to see the daybreak is another experience which most people don't have. Usually people have a sunset, and of course there are lots of pictures about sunset, and it's a beautiful thing, right? Although I won't get back into that now, but it's another study. But I'm just saying that daybreak is a beautiful thing. And for some reason, they have said it that the darkest hour is just before dawn. Right? And there's a group, they were the name, I think the Clark Sisters, right? They sing a song about that, but I think they just heard it from maybe, I've been hearing it too far growing up. But I had to think about it because I've actually been there, where I have to say to myself, as I wrote, it's like there is a certain kind of gloom that comes over before the day breaks. And it would seem as if it's so dark, especially if you are alone. And this is as I spoke about Malachi, right? Malachi wrote about the coming of the Lord. Just three chapters. In fact, this chapter here, chapter 4, only have 6 verses. It's one of the shortest books in the Bible. Okay? And some of the deep things about salvation were explained to us in here. You know what I'm saying? Just like the problem between Jacob and Esau and all these things, and the rebellion of Israel and all these things. These all things are right here in this thing. And so he said, but behold, the day cometh. Now hold on, before I get to that. So I'm saying that, so when you are there waiting for daybreak, one of the things that I do know, because when I was a child, I was really sickly. And sometimes people might look at me, you know, like, they might, if they who would know me, they might say, but maybe they don't understand it. I mean, the slightest little rain fall on me, I would be sick. You know, I couldn't even eat things like eggs and all these things. I'm going to school and I eat these eggs. I would, you know, I was really sickly. And my daddy used to say, oh, I'm so puny, and, you know, sometimes I mean to lap and almost, you know, petting me like or whatever. That's who I was, right? One of the ones in the family most likely to get sick was me, okay? Now it's the exact opposite, right? So, yeah, I've never spent a day in hospital, I mean, and a lot of things people are dealing with and what they have dealt with, I'm not dealt with it, but thank God my health turned around. But one thing I did know, I do know, and I won't forget it, is that somehow, sometimes when you went through the night, and sometimes you couldn't sleep, stuffy, you can't breathe, and so uncomfortable. But somehow, you can't explain it. The night seems so long. But when the day begins to break, you start to feel better. And you couldn't sleep before, you were so uncomfortable. But before you know it, you fall asleep. And you wake up sometimes feeling well. Yes. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. And as for me, who have traveled through the night on the road, that's another experience I've had. I mean, in the past couple of years, from 2020, I mean, I traveled through the whole night, go through on the road, the whole night. The whole night I'm driving on the road, seeing the breaking of the day. Well, no, I spoke about 2004. Yeah, that I think maybe was my first experience, driving Wasn't through the whole night, but it was like, yeah, after midnight. But I've dreamed through the whole night. Whole night, from day before sunset to sunrise, on the road. And you see the daybreak, right? And especially if you're traveling in that direction where you can see the daybreak. It is a relief when you start to see the day breaking. You start to see things start to look better. You start to feel better because now you're looking forward to the day. There are some people who do that for profession and they're on the road all the while. Maybe after a while they might get so used to it that it might not be so much, mean so much to them, but I know there is something when you get to daybreak. I know it can't be, because the fact is that you're coming out of darkness into light. And it's a dramatic change. And you can't get so used to it that it doesn't mean anything to you. Because for every one of us, and there's another thing again is that even though sometimes you try to keep up during the night, you try to keep up, but if you stay up till 1 o'clock, you're stretching it. Stay up till 2 o'clock, you're stretching it. Get to 3 o'clock, somehow your body tends to want to shut down. And you say, listen, you're up too long. And if you don't shut down, I'm going to shut you down. That's very dangerous when you're on the road, I'm telling you. Very dangerous. If you don't shut down, I'm going to shut you down. Okay, you need to shut down. And then sometimes if you're on the road at times, you have to fighting harder to sleep. Right? And even though sometimes you have slept for the journey, there is that time when the darkness is coming down and you're in the darkness, the body wants to shut down. It wants to shut down. It says, no, it's time for me to sleep from them. So I'm saying to you that we have gone through, the gloom of darkness is upon the earth. I said, the gloom of darkness upon the earth. And the symbol of darkness is the devil, is sin, is evil. There are some things which are happening upon this earth here right now. As I said in my blog, I said, when I hear these news, man, I'm like, I said, Lord, this, I'm slit. I'm telling you, just like that. At the table, I'm pounding it. I'm saying, no. I said, no. This is wrong. I'm saying, no. This can't be. I said, no. And I cried to God, and I said to God, and I said, oh God. I said, oh God. I'm saying, like, I hit my head. I said, no, this cannot be. I'm crying to God. And God, I'm crying to God in heaven. I can only hear, I can't cry. I said, no. And I said, no. Sometimes he said, no, this is exactly as the days of Noah. This is exactly as the days of Sodom and Gomorrah. This is exactly like the time of Nineveh, but the people still won't repent as the Ninevites repented. Heading straight into danger. As we spoke about Lot, we said before that God sent 2 angels down to Lot. When their cup was full, the Bible said the cup, they said the cup is full. And the Bible said the dregs, they're going to drink it. The Lord said the dregs, right? He's going to let them drink the very dregs. And so the Bible tells us here, it says, Malachi verse chapter 4, but behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, yea, and them that do wickedly, shall be as stubble, shall be stubble. It's just going to be like trash, right? And the day that cometh shall burn them up, says the Lord of hosts, that it shall leave them neither root nor branch. This is a terrible destruction. But he says, unto you that fear my name, shall the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in his wings, and he shall go forth and grow up as calves